Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode in the 48 Laws of Power Deconstructed. It's my belief that as of right now, society's perception of power is very flawed. And I'm not here to shame people that follow these laws, like I have followed these laws in the past. But I'm here to break the illusion of power that this book asserts onto us as a collective. And I'm here to offer something better to replace it. So if you're here looking for a new form of power, one that's built in truth and coherence and like true sovereignty, then this series here is for you. If you find value in this work, you should subscribe and share it, not as validation, but as participation in the return of a culture that operates based on true power. So let's begin. Law 1, never outshine the master, will not make you powerful. If you follow this law, you'll be left submissive, confused, and ultimately ineffective. Let's break this law down with clarity. So, what does never outshine the master really mean? It means to never be perceived as more intelligent than your leader, no matter how competent your leader is. Because if people perceive you as more intelligent, it will hurt your leader's ego, and that will cause them to retaliate. If they retaliate, then they're going to undermine you. They're going to downplay your abilities. They're going to try to control other people's perception of you. So they might spread gossip behind your back. They will do things that will subtly downplay your own growth. So never outshining the master, in Robert Greene's terms, is all about learning to downplay your abilities so that you can control your leader's emotional states. On the surface, this sounds practical. It sounds like good advice, but when we deconstruct its implications, it becomes very clear that this advice is harmful, not only for the individual, but for the entire collective. So there's this sort of dysfunctional loop that it creates. It's a loop that consistently recurs, and it perpetuates itself. And here's how it goes. Leaders, for them to function properly, they need correction from their followers. But when followers stop speaking truth to satisfy the egos of their leaders, the ability for a leader to grow gets cut off. Without correction, the leader will make mistakes and they'll assume that they're right. And with time, they will get used to never being contradicted. And then when they do get contradicted finally at the end, it'll feel like betrayal. It'll feel like people hate them, and that's why they're contradicting them. Which usually is because by the end of it, the followers become resentful. The leaders start to view contradiction as retaliation. Meanwhile, the followers begin to lose their voice completely. The followers become complicit in the bad decisions that the leaders make, and then they start to blame the leader for their incompetency, without realizing that they abandoned their responsibility to keep the leader accountable. So this recursive loop that we see in all kinds of environments, it plays out all the time, and it always ends in collapse. Let me run through it one more time with you guys so that you can see the order in which this happens. So number 1, imagine the leaders and followers begin with a coherent environment, a healthy environment where the followers hold the leaders accountable. There's feedback, there's correction, there's coherence. Number 2, the followers, for whatever reason, become afraid to hold the leaders accountable. Maybe they read Law 1 in the 48 Laws of Power, and that's why. Number 3, without feedback, the leader makes uncorrected mistakes. Number 4, the mistakes don't get named by the followers. Number 5, the leader starts doubting themselves, but they keep that information to themselves. Number 6, the leaders become stressed out. They become emotionally reactive because they know that they're making problems, but they don't know how to fix the problems. At the same time, they become accustomed to never being contradicted. Number 7, the followers begin to resent the leader, but they stay silent, afraid of the interaction and how they will lose power for contradicting the leader. Number 8, the whole system devolves into chaos. The followers become resentful, the leader becomes ineffective and emotionally unstable, and then the two sides just endlessly judge each other for as long as the system stays intact until the system eventually fails. So this recursive loop is really the root of why this advice to never outshine the master doesn't work. Because if you're never outshining the master, then they become incompetent and they don't have any checks and balances to keep them as a functional, good leader. And that's not all. The law doesn't just collapse the system, it also fractures the identity of the follower. Because when you downplay your intelligence to survive in a system that has an unstable leader, you yourself start to lose clarity. You start to adapt to the dysfunction. You accept the norm, and then eventually you become the norm. Your voice starts to merge with the distorted leader, and your perception around power becomes jaded because you've watched somebody be incompetent and be in power and have no consequences for it. Eventually, you'll stop believing that power is about wisdom, and you'll start thinking that power is just about performance, manipulation, and strategy. And this is how Law 1 corrupts not only leaders, but it also corrupts the followers. I hope that after watching this, you realize that you don't need to downplay yourself to be safe. Because power that doesn't uplift and hold people accountable, it's not real power. It's performance, and it's marketed as if it's real leadership, but it's not. I'll see you guys in the next episode. It's going to be called Society Creates Narcissists. Until then, stay sovereign, mirror bearers.